Hi friends! Before we get to today's episode, we have a couple announcements for you. First of all, due to current situation with the pandemic and having to isolate, we are unfortunately not able to meet and record video episodes. We still wanted to put out the second season of the podcast for you friends, so for the time being, we will do it in audio-only format. We're recording in our own homes with separate setups, so the sound quality is going to be a little different for the two of us, and the flow of the conversation might seem a bit different from what you're used to, since we're talking to each other on video calls. So please bear with us as we make it work given the current situation. The podcast is still available on all the same platforms, including YouTube. And we will return to filming video episodes as soon as we can meet in person again.
We have another exciting announcement. We are now on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it is a platform where you can support your favorite creatives with a monthly pledge that you can change or delete anytime. Our Patreon page will work as a tip jar with one tier that is €2 a month or more if you wish. The money will go towards paying for our podcast hosting fees. In the future, we hope to also create exclusive content for you on Patreon. So, if you enjoy listening to our podcast, consider supporting us on Patreon. And now to today's episode.
Hi friends, my name is Sasha.
And I'm Mia.
And this is the Drawing Club podcast. Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome. Good to be back.
Yes, and we are the Drawing Club podcast. So in this club, we draw while we podcast. Yes. Of course, you don't have to draw, but if you are drawing with us, then yeah, feel free to do so. And both of us are going to be drawing too. So Mia, do you want to start with telling what are you going to draw today?
Yes, I am drawing this cutie she has cat ears and she has kind of this edgy outfit on. It's very fun, and I'm using my watercolors to draw her.
Ooh.
What about you?
Well, as I mentioned last week, I'm doing this daily drawing marathon thing organized by this illustrator, Sofia Kolovskaya. So if any of you are Russian speakers, then I recommend this marathon. She's gonna start it again sometime soon. Anyways, today's task is to gather a bunch of objects from your house that are of the same category and then kind of make this one big, not a pattern, but kind of this composition with a lot of different objects of the same category. So guess what I'm drawing? Of course, I'm drawing plants. I already had 6 plants next to my desk and I brought some more. So now I'm sitting here surrounded by plants and I'm just gonna draw portraits of my plants and organize them on this page.
Who is surprised? I'm not surprised, but I love it. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I kind of feel that this is not totally going out of my comfort zone, which most of these tasks are supposed to be. But I already draw plants all the time. I often draw my plants, and also I often draw many plants on the same page. So, but I'm not cheating. I'm doing what they said. So
exactly.
Yes.
You're just making it, your way.
Yes.
Doing your thing. That's totally fine.
Yeah. But let's start with the little thing that we want to share with the club. So Mia, what do you want to share with the club today?
I want to share my love for the Sims games. Because just recently I got really back into playing The Sims 4. And I think I've talked about this in some previous episodes, but The Sims games, I've been playing them since the first one came out. So I'm pretty old, but also so are the games. And yeah, I've been playing the games for all these years, but kind of on and off. And now I'm back on again, and I'm super excited too. I've been creating new characters again and going on downloading sprees for custom content and building some cute houses. And yeah, I'm really loving it. It's a nice way to be creative, but also very low pressure and It's really fun. And we even played together with you, like, via video call, because you recently got The Sims for...
Yes, you got me into it too. Yeah, I only played The Sims when when it came out. And since then, I haven't played, since I was, like, a child. But, yeah, now that there is a lot of time to spend on something that you need to take your mind off the stuff that's happening in the world, I was like, okay, I'm gonna download it and let's see what it's like to play nowadays. And I actually kind of procrastinated on it for weeks, because at the same time I also bought the Nintendo Switch, so I was busy with that. But now I don't know, we were just chatting on the, like, we just had a video call and we were chatting, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play The Sims now. Yeah. And you were like, yes, okay, let's play together.
Yeah, I got super excited right away.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
What is your thing you want to share with the club?
Well, I already mentioned in the previous episode that I've been now, like, marathoning some things, some, like, movies. I mean, I don't marathon like I don't watch 10 movies in one day, but, like, within several days I just watch the same series of movies or something. So, like, a couple of weeks ago I marathoned Harry Potter, and then there was something else. Anyways, I'm running out of things to marathon, so I started with my partner watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yay!
which I thought I would never do, because, like, I don't know, I'm considering myself as someone who is not really into these kind of movies. Which, I mean, some of them I still watch if, like, somebody tells me that this one is really good, but I, like, never really wanted to watch all of them. I don't know. I didn't really care for superhero movies, but now I was like, okay, what the hell? I'm gonna try this. Yeah. And like,
so how are you offending them?
Yeah, I don't want to offend anyone who likes those movies, because I'm sure, like, it's totally fine to like those movies. But so far, I didn't like a lot of them. It's like, I mean, yeah, a lot of them are pretty bad for my taste. But also, I feel like now I've watched the whole... okay, those who don't watch these movies are not gonna understand now any of this, but I watched the whole, what is it, phase 1, and now we're starting the phase 2. So we watched 2 movies from phase 2, and we are watching in the release order. So yeah, what was my point? Yes, I'm starting to get used to, like, this style of movies. So I'm starting to kind of ignore all the things that, like, in the beginning seemed really silly to me, because I'm like, okay, this is based on comic books. So this is supposed to be, like, the movie version of the comic books. So of course, like, people are, like, the way people talk is sometimes, like, over the top, and, like, and also they're not supposed to be, like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting used to this style, so now I'm noticing also, like, other things. So, like, some of them I enjoyed, but yeah, some of them I did really like I don't know, compared to all the rest of them. I liked the Incredible Hulk, and now, like, yesterday we watched the second Thor movie. Yeah, and that was already, like, much nicer than the first Thor movie.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm starting to kind of, like, get to know some of those characters when they appear, like, again and again. So of course, like, even if the style of the movie is not, like, the best thing ever for me, I still wanna now know, like, what happens to them, because I'm getting like, you know how sometimes you watch a TV show, even if it's trashy, you still want to know what happens to these people. Yeah. So you just keep watching.
Invested. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I'm kind of getting invested, even though for me it's like a bit of a trashy. Yeah, but also, like, of course, I'm speaking from a perspective of the person who never really, like, was into, like, I wasn't into these comic books either, and I was never into the movies based on this kind of comic books. So yes, I'm sure, like, if you're a huge fan of this stuff, you see things in there that I don't. So, like, I just don't want to trash them for everyone who's really into them. Like, I don't think like people who watch them are stupid or anything. but because this is like tastes. Such a yeah.
I felt the same. Like I also like got into the Marvel movies like really late, but I got like really into them, and I mean, yeah, not all of them are great movies, I don't think, or I don't enjoy them as much as some, but like overall I've really enjoyed them. But I was like really resistant because I didn't find them all that interesting to begin with, but then I did, and some of the movies are like genuinely really good movies. Yeah. Okay, should we introduce our topic of the week?
Yes. Yeah, so like you probably noticed that we always ask you to send us questions, and there was one question that we keep being sent again and again, and we might even have like shortly answered it, but we kind of also like have ignored it a lot, and then we were like, okay, let's make an episode about it because clearly a lot of you are asking that. So the question is about finding your style. So sometimes you ask how we found our style, or how to find a style, or I mean there is like so many ways about how you ask about style, but so many of you really want to like seem to really struggle with finding your style. So we thought like, okay, let's take this whole hour or a bit under an hour, but let's take the whole episode to talk about this, because this is clearly a big topic for a lot of people.
Yes.
So should we start with like what do you think style is, and how do you describe your own style?
Well, it's so difficult to like try to define what style is, but I guess it's some kind of a cohesive visual way of like visually depicting things. I don't know, that's pretty vague, but like as far as my style, how I would describe it would be cute, calm, and maybe like childlike, or like because I deal with like some fairy tale stuff, and it's like this cutesy thing, so kind of like, and colorful, yeah. Something like that, I think, and like quite simplified. I like simple, yeah. How would you describe your style?
Yeah, it's actually like pretty hard to describe your own style. I'm now thinking like we should have actually asked, like I should have asked each of us to describe like each other's styles.
Let's do that though.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But I mean, I could try to like, yeah, because whenever I think of some things about my style, I'm like, but is that true then? For example, like when I draw, I strive to, like, I want my style to be kind of minimalist, but also I know what I draw is not really minimalist compared to like things. For example, if you Google minimalist illustration, it wouldn't be like what I usually draw.
Sure.
But maybe, yeah, like I stick to very narrow color palettes. I like to use 2 or 3 colors within one illustration. Yeah, so in that way I would also not call them colorful, because they don't have a lot of colors. But actually recently I've been using like pretty bright colors. So they are in a way colorful, but like, yeah. Yeah, but I would say like it's very yeah?
Yeah, I think I would actually could call your style cute minimalism. That's actually, I think, a pretty good description. Yeah. Because I think, to me, it does look minimalist. Like, for example, if I compare it to mine, you're very clean, kind of, I don't know, it's like very clean, not like in any like clinical boring way, but just like you like kind of clean shapes, and it looks very like kind of clear, and also I think it comes from your like this limited palette thing and everything.
Yeah.
But it's still very cute because you draw these cute characters, and it's this simplified also this cute thing, but so cute minimalism. That's my definition of hairstyle.
Yeah, but it's interesting also because now like you use the word cute, but I would actually not describe your or my style as cute, even though I mean in some way it's cute. It's not like very serious, but also when I would say cute style, I would imagine some like very like, you know, pink candy, glitter,
okay,
kind of thing.
I see.
So I think your style I would rather like describe as like calm and like kind of earthy and kind of very like inspired by nature. Like the colors are very like, or by like countryside or, you know, something like this. So I don't know, is there like a descriptive word for like, you know, nature and countryside? Like if there is, then that's like
nature-y. Countryside-y.
Yes. So nature-y and countryside-y cute.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah.
Do you do you have like a definition for style in general?
Yeah, I guess it's like if there is something that you keep repeating in your work, like some characteristics of your work that are the same through like different pieces. For example, like I draw a plant and then I draw a person and then I draw a car, but in each of those pictures it would be like only two colors and clean lines and this kind of stuff. So the stuff that like sticks through like all of your work.
Yeah.
And the things that like if people notice those things then they recognize it's you. I mean, yeah, I guess like that of course depends on how like unique your style is or whatever, but yeah, something that makes your work recognizable. And
yeah, I like your definition. The thing that kind of goes through all of them regardless of what you're drawing. That something kind of stays the same.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I'm wondering, like, for example, how are you conscious about your style? Like, are there things that you know, like, I want my art to be this, and then you try, like for example, you are aesthetically attracted to this, so you try for your art to be this, or is it something that you just draw whatever your mind makes you draw, and then you realize, oh, in all of my pictures or like in all of my pieces I use this kind of colors or something. Like, how is it for you?
I think it's a bit of both. Like, I feel like I am naturally drawn to certain things, and I think some of it also has to do with my skill level, or like, because I've never been like super interested, for example, in like teaching myself to be like super precise and like very realistic. I just like can't even do that, so I but I mean also like for myself I don't really like I don't personally like gravitate towards that aesthetic, or like I don't enjoy that in other people's work so much either. So but so yeah, some of it is, I think I just naturally gravitate towards, but I am also aware of it, and because I notice it when I kind of get some idea and I kind of realize like this is something I don't usually do. I mean, it more maybe comes with like subject matter, which I think, like, even though that's not directly style, but I think for my style like, I don't know, if I talk about my style, I kind of consider what I draw also part of it in a way, like what things I gravitate towards. So I think I become more aware of it when I kind of feel like doing something that is actually kind of feels outside that. Yeah. Which, I mean, I do, like, sometimes I want to try new things, obviously. But, so yeah, I think then I become more aware of my own style. How is it for you? Yeah, I think for me it's also a bit of both. Like, some things I think I'm pretty intentional about most things around my style. Because also I think, it also has to do with the skill. Like, generally,
I always consider like drawing to not kind of come naturally to me. It's like something I like to do. So like I really tried to learn to do it. So I think like most of the time when I draw, I have to kind of consciously think of like how I want things to be. So I would say that mostly like I want things to be a certain way. And then I try to, like, I don't want always, for example, I want things to look clean and simple. So I have to, of course, experiment to see what clean and simple looks to me. Because I think sometimes things that look clean and simple to me don't look clean and simple to others. For example, maybe someone would say if you want your drawings to be clean and simple, like you wouldn't use watercolors because they're kind of messy and they're like not very, what is it, like the color is not very smooth and stuff. But then for me, like I like that, but then I achieve the clean and simple like with other elements. So I think there's of course still a level of experimentation, like some things you just kind of do and see what, like how things work and what you enjoy doing and what you like. But still I think I'm like pretty intentional. Like I have the aesthetic vision of like things I like in general, but then I kind of have to work on finding these. Okay, I'm being really vague now, but
it totally
but
makes
like in general in life, like in my clothes, in my house, and in everything. For example, I like simplicity. So then I'm kind of like, okay, this is something that makes me feel happy. So how do I achieve it in illustration? So like I think I'm intentional about like maybe the big picture, and then the details I then find through experimentation.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I think for me, now that you talked about it, I kind of feel like I can articulate like some of it better myself. But I definitely noticed that because of course, these things, how you, for example, described my style, this nature thing and countryside stuff, like one side of my kind of personality and things I love is like very much this calm nature and kind of this simple life and kind of this kind of stuff. But obviously I'm a multifaceted human being, and I also really enjoy, like, I don't know, something that's completely opposite to that. Like, I don't know, like skateboarding is super cool to me. I mean, I don't do it, you know, or I enjoy like some sports a lot, or like sometimes like some very kind of aggressive or exciting visual things are like very, like I might like, but I don't really do that myself because I somehow feel like, I don't know, that this kind of comes to me naturally, but I'm kind of aware of, it's kind of this enclosed thing in a way. I mean, it can like, of course I can do a variety of things within it and also like kind of go outside of it, but oh my god, it's so hard to explain this in like concrete terms. But you know, I'm aware of this kind of framework that I work within, you know. Yeah,
it's interesting actually now that you're like raised this, that like this distinction between the things that you like and the things that you make yourself. Like there are things that you like that are kind of the same style or feeling or like atmosphere that what you make, but then there might be things that you really like that you would never make anything like that because it's just not something that, like, it's not how you express yourself, but you really enjoy seeing others express themselves in that style. Exactly. But also there are like other styles that you just don't enjoy at all. So like that is so interesting.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, like I don't know if I'm leading anywhere with that, but it's just like I started thinking about it and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I, for example, also like really enjoy this kind of like nature, like this woodsy, I don't know, countryside-y stuff. Like I really like this kind of photos and this kind of illustrations, and like when, I don't know, when like the movies have that or even like going to the forest and seeing all of that, that's like very inspiring to me. But when I make my own things, or for example, like when I decorate my house, of course I bring those things in with like the plants and like, I don't know, a lot of wood. But in general, like I like when I express myself, it's way more like modern and kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like not at all. Like I don't know, maybe someone would say that, but I wouldn't say that I ever express myself in this kind of foresty, countryside-y style. But I really like that kind of style. But it's like, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like interesting how we can enjoy like many different aesthetics, but somehow like some kind of aesthetic just feels, like more natural when you're expressing your own creative ideas.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm sure we still kind of get some things from those things that we enjoy that are not really like the style we use, but we still, for example, if you do something more like if your art is super clean and minimalist, but then you really enjoy some like very kind of messy, sketchy, something like that kind of art also, I'm sure you still, when you consume that kind of art, you still get something from it that you will bring into your style.
Yeah, like it translates somehow into something. Yeah.
And I think also like that's actually looking at a lot of different stuff that you like. You don't have to like, of course, force yourself to look at stuff you don't like, but when you like look at different art or like listen or whatever, consume, I don't know, is like consume art a good expression? Because then it sounds like you're buying it, but
but I mean, I think like it is. I know what you mean, at least.
Okay, yes. So I will use the term consume art, but I don't mean it in like a capitalist way, but I mean it in like, because you don't always only look at art, but you also listen to art or smell art or whatever. That's what I mean. And please let me know if there's a better word so I can use it in the future. Anyway, so when you consume art, not only in this one style or atmosphere that you also express yourself, but in a lot of those different ways, I think that's how your own style becomes kind of more rich or more personal, and it doesn't look like the same thing that a lot of other people do in that same style, but it has elements from those other things.
Yes, that's perfect.
So like it's interesting how we enjoy all those different things, even if those are not ways how we would express ourselves. But I think there is like a reason for that also, because we need this kind of variety, so we can also then be creative in like, I don't know,
because I think
more
also
varied
like,
way.
Because also if we just only look at like a certain type of, like only look at certain types of artwork, or only watch like one kind of movies, or listen to one genre of music, it at least for me, that can't like keep inspiring me forever and ever. Like I need variety to like, exactly, I agree. I definitely see that it's always like a good thing to have like several things that can like be used as inspiration, and just generally also like to enjoy different things in life makes life more enjoyable. Not only like to use in your creative practice.
But because since like a lot of people kind of strive to find their own style, or then a lot of like educators say that you need to find your own style, like what do you think? Do you even need to have one style?
I think it depends on what you want to do, I guess. I think it's not like a must. Like you can have maybe like several styles. Like for example, if you do like newspaper illustration, but you also I don't know, you also want to write a children's book and illustrate that. So it could be obvious that, because there are totally two different kind of mediums. So I kind of think it could make sense that, you know, for children the illustrations might like tend to be more cute and stuff, but for newspaper stuff it might somehow change, because the readers are adults and the topics can be very serious, so maybe it's not always as cute. So I think like sometimes it can maybe even be a strength if you're kind of flexible in your styles, but it's also, I think, like, I don't know, because you can kind of have a style and then have different variations depending on like where you're using it, or then you can have like several just completely different, like you can do this sketchy art stuff in one place and then something like this very realistic CGI stuff, but then you also like kind of comic book look and you want to do that too. Like I think if you enjoy it, draw it. But I guess professionally, I can see why it can be good to have some cohesion in your style as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think like having, I mean, if drawing is just your hobby, I don't think it matters at all. Like, draw whatever you want. Have 1,000 styles or 2 styles or like whatever. Like, if this is your hobby and you do it for yourself, then yeah. But then, of course, if you want to sell your art or like grow your social media following, or I don't know, somehow make your personality, like people would say build your brand, but like not to be too capitalism about it. You're, of course, like if it's just you're a person, you're not a brand, but of course you still like, you're trying to build this personality that people can like, you need, like it's maybe you don't need to, but it's useful to be recognizable in some way.
Yeah.
So in that way, of course, it's good if like you can still create work in like loads of different styles, but your like the body of work that you're showing in order for like people to hire you or whatever, or to follow you or something, like that needs to make sense together in one way or another. Like, for example, I think it doesn't even have to make sense in a way that it's the same style. Because, for example, I follow this one illustrator that, I love hedgehogs. So their Instagram is about hedgehogs. They draw a hedgehog every day in a completely different style. But all of the drawings are hedgehogs. So that's the point. Like, so this person doesn't have one style, but they kind of do, because their style is that they draw hedgehogs. So I think it like doesn't necessarily, like, I mean, I don't know if they get hired to draw hedgehogs. I don't know, but at least they have a following. They like that, at least that project has like a purpose. It's an Instagram account that makes hedgehog fans happy. And like there is something that makes sense, like why all these pictures are together, it makes sense. So I think like that is kind of more like the main point is like when you build this kind of, I don't know, body of work thing, it needs to make sense when people find you, and when they like, if you want them to either follow you or work with you in the future. I think your body of work needs to make sense in a way. So I think that's why like this whole style conversation is so big, because like usually it's because all of them are one style. Like sometimes it's all of them are hedgehogs, but but it's more common than like someone's body of work is like a very coherent style, so then like they're recognizable. But it doesn't mean that this one artist has to only have this one style. They can of course still do other things. Like some artists might have several Instagram accounts and have, I don't know, several bodies of work, and then with this style they will do this, and with this other style they have this other project. Or then some people can express like their different sides in like different genres. For example, like I am a visual artist, but I'm also a musician, and my music is like a very different style from what I do in art. And sometimes that confuses me, but also it makes sense because I also have these two different sides to myself, kind of. I like this kind of calm and like cute and kind and nice things. But then I also really like edgy, aggressive, dark stuff. But you'll never see that in my illustrations, which is like really weird to me because I really like that aesthetic. But like in my music, you can see that. My music is never cute or nice or sweet or calm. I mean, maybe it's calm sometimes, but like still in this, not like the music that I do that sounds calm to some people, for many people it won't sound calm. Like, so I think that side I can express easier with music. But like with visual art, I can't really express that side of me. Like I tried to draw something more dark, but it doesn't work. I don't know why, but I guess my visual side is kind of more nice and cute and stuff.
I love that you brought up your music thing, because that is so true, first of all, like about your aesthetic, but that also got me thinking, because for example, I have this music project where I have this band with my partner, and it's called Misty Moon, and we make this cute synth pop, or not like synth pop, but this cute electronic lo-fi music, pop music, these cute songs. But the aesthetic is completely different. It's these pastel colors and a lot of glitter, and like it has these supernatural elements, like these kind of UFO and alien stuff, and it's like it's kind of like Tumblr 2012-esque thing. But like those things don't really turn up in my art. Sometimes I have tried to draw something in that style every now and then, but it never works for me. Like I don't end up liking it, even though I like that aesthetic. And I follow some artists who have more of that kind of really cutesy pastel but kind of edgy aesthetic, but I can't really do it in a way that I like.
Yeah, exactly. And to me also it's interesting that you said that now, because I totally because I know you and your partner personally, so the music and the aesthetic of your band, it makes total sense to me. So I didn't even think about it, that it's like a very different style.
Yeah.
But that's true actually. Like for people who don't know you, maybe it wouldn't be like, if they only see your art, like that would maybe look like a completely different style. But then it makes total sense, because when you know you personally, you're really into both of those things, and like yeah. So I mean it's
that kind of like got me thinking that it's kind of, because we kind of think that we should have this one style, but I kind of lost my train of thought. I was trying to make some point about how we don't need to, but now I thought I had something smart to say, but now I completely lost it. So please take over.
But I had this like next point to talk about like why do so many creative people struggle with style? Like why is it even a question? And I think we kind of basically moved into that, because I think like a lot of us are very multifaceted, and for a lot of us, when we hear this idea that you need to find your style, it sounds kind of scary, because we're like, yeah, but I like this and I like that and I do all of this, like it's really hard to find, and then you feel like you're not good enough a creative because you don't have a style. But it's actually like totally normal that all of us are interested in different things and different aesthetics, and there is a way for all of us to explore all of those things. And of course, for some of them, it can even be like completely different forms of art. Like with us, like this one side we explore in illustration, and then this other side we explore in music. And then, I don't know, maybe somebody is like writing poetry or like doing whatever, or cooking, or I don't know. But also, I think it's sort of normal if what you do is only drawing. So then, of course, you will want to explore those different sides only in drawing. But then I think like the issue with the style only comes like that if you want to work as an artist or if you want to sell your art. So then you just need to kind of like experiment with how you present your art, or like maybe be more picky about what you present, and like so then you can explore everything, but then you only like sell one thing, or then you sell everything but also kind of like find different people to sell it to or something. I don't know, it's like it's hard to say exactly what is like the right thing to do, because I think it's different for every person. But I think it's just like you can just be like if you put your art out there for people to somehow interact with, and like that's what you expect from people, then I guess you just need to find a strategy of
but
how
also,
to
like,
make sense.
Yeah, like I totally agree, and I think those are like super great points. But also I think something that might come into play with a lot of people, and that I actually like really felt before I started sharing my art online as an adult, I kind of, because I wasn't that like confident with my style. I didn't have like such a clear style as I have now, maybe. I mean, it still was kind of cohesive, but I was still experimenting a lot more. So I think that can also be a fear for people. Like, I'm not ready enough, kind of, with my art, with my style. Like, what if I now post this kind of art, but I actually then kind of drift away from that? Or, you know, like, I tried this, but actually, oh no, now I have, like, followers who really like this art, but now I actually want to do this completely other thing. Or, you know, that it can also be... It can also be like overthought very easily. Like, oh my god, if I do this now, I have to commit to it like for eternity and for my whole life, and this is it. Like, I can't screw this up. I have to like be 100% sure this is my style forever, which is so not true. Because even though I consider that I have a style, it is in constant, like it is constantly changing little by little. Like when I look at my art a year ago, it is very similar, but I can notice things that I have started shifting certain things into certain directions with my things. So it's not like a forever thing.
Yes, I agree. And I should rephrase what I was saying before that I think I wouldn't mean that don't share anything before you found a strategy. I think if you want to share your art, share it right now, whether you have one style or like however many styles. But if you have if your goals are such that it feels like you would need some kind of style, or I would say not even like you would need a style, but you would need some kind of strategy, then just kind of work on that strategy, but still keep sharing your art, because style is a process and any strategy is a process, and like everything is a process. And you should share your process with others, because then that's actually how you learn. Like, you can never learn without starting. Yes,
100% agree. I want to ask you, Sasha, have you always had like the same style, or have you gone through some, I don't know, style phases or something like that?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I always had the same style, but I think for me it feels like if I look back at my work, for me it feels that my old work looks different, not because I had a different style, but because I was in the process of finding my style. So, like, because when I look back, I feel like, okay, this still lacks something that, like, now I found. But my work now still lacks something that I think I'll find later. So, like, of course, my style changes, but I think because it becomes better all the time. I mean, better compared to what I want it to be. Yes.
That's cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. That's really cool that you can see kind of this continuum throughout your whole art or like drawing journey, if you will. For me, I've gone through like a lot of different styles, a lot. Like, well, I mean, if we're not kind of counting childhood drawing, because that's a whole different thing, but like as a teenager, I was experimenting with a lot of this very angsty style. Like I would do all these sketches and I would smudge like charcoal and then only use like black and red and like write some angsty poems in the background of the drawings and like make them really grimy and angsty and dark. But then like just a year after that or something, I would do like these neon colored furry creatures. Like I got super into furry art when I was a teenager, and I would make all these like goats and cows, and they would wear these cool street clothes that were like influenced by Japanese street fashion and like, yeah. And then I guess at some point I was also like experimenting with more realistic things. Maybe that was like before this, but then I kind of think like as an adult I've been on this or like maybe, yeah, like since my late teenagers I can see a continuum more, like how you described. Like it was pretty different with subject matter when I started out, but I can already like recognize a lot of things from there that have kind of stuck or like very slowly kind of morphed into what I do now.
Yeah, I think since I didn't, like I only did art as an adult, like that is maybe because now that you were talking about your teenage art, I can imagine myself as a teenager doing exactly that.
Yes.
Too. But since I didn't really like do that as a teenager, then we'll never see what a teenage Sasha would draw.
Aww.
Yeah.
Also, like about style, I want to mention quickly, because when I was kind of preparing for this episode, I remembered that when I started kind of my Instagram thing, I was first like on my page, Mia Minerva, I was focusing more on like photography and kind of just sharing my life in this very aesthetic way. So when I started drawing more in 2016, I actually started like a separate illustration account, which is miaminerva.illustration. I think we can maybe link it in the description. But that Instagram actually like has my art from 2016 to like 2018, I think, or like 17 or something. But you can see like like it's kind of similar to what I do, but it is very different in the beginning, and you can kind of see how it morphs like closer and closer to what I'm doing now. So that was like really cool. I went to see it just before we started recording, and that was really fun. And it was only like, it was under 4 years ago that I started that page, but I can like see such a big change, even though it's like a similar style, if that makes sense. So I don't know, it might be interesting to some of you to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm actually gonna take a look also.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. All right. But should we move to the question of the week now?
Yes, I have it here. So Schmoops sent us a question. How did you get to know what art supplies work the best for you, and what do you use?
All right.
I think by trying different art supplies out. See what works for me.
Yeah, that's true. That's the simple answer, and yes. I guess like that's the main thing. You just need to try things you won't ever know until you've tried. But also, again, I don't think you need to find one kind of art supplies that work for you.
Yeah.
Or you don't need to find one art supply that works for you forever. Exactly. Yeah, I think it's good to, like, to me, the art supplies that work for me are the ones that inspire me. Like the ones that I just want to, I don't know, keep using. Or like, I remember, like nowadays I don't shop for art supplies as much because I guess I have enough. But I remember that feeling when you buy a new art supply and you're so inspired to try that, and then
Yes.
so at that period of time, the one that I just bought was the one that it was best for me. Like maybe not to create something that somebody just paid you to do, and then but right to get me. So yeah, again, also it depends on what you're using it for. So if somebody just paid you for a commission, don't use the art supplies that you just bought that you've never tried.
Yeah.
For that purpose, the one that is good, that is best for you, is the one you're comfortable with.
Yes.
Yeah, but of course, like, to get you inspired, then you like, if you feel like you want to try something new, then try something new, and if you feel you love something so much you never want to try anything else, then you should use that. I don't know. I guess I don't know if that's like a very vague answer. Use whatever you want.
Yeah, I also thought, like, I think one way that I kind of figured what I would want to experiment with was also like seeing seeing artists and seeing what they use to create certain things. Like, I remember before I got my first markers, I was following some artists, and I just really loved the way it kind of creates this even surface. And I loved, because I don't really like shading my stuff very much, so I was like, oh, that feels like that's how I want to express myself, you know. I want to create these even surfaces of color, and kind of, so also like it can help to look at art that you enjoy and see how that's been created, and then experiment with that. Because at least for me, I have some vision of how I want my art to look, and have had at different points. So then I want to like find the right tools for what I'm trying to convey, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe like if you look at other people's art, see like which kind of technique looks like something like what you would want to do, and then try to find out like what they're using.
Yeah.
Like if this artist has a lot of like a large following, then maybe don't ask them right away, but first look through because probably they already have a Q&A and they already answered. Because I know like a lot of artists who have a lot of following get this question like, what brand of paints do you use like 100 times a day? So first check if they already mention it somewhere. But if it's like your friend, or if it's someone with like a small following, then just ask them.
Yes.
Like,
so Sasha, what are your go-to art supplies?
At the moment, my number one go-to art supply is iPad Pro and Procreate. Like if I create something for work, then it's usually that. But also watercolors, I would say, is my go-to.
Yeah, I would actually say the same. Like, I used to be really into markers, and all my drawings would be in markers, but I think nowadays it is mostly like digital or then watercolors.
Yeah, but also again it depends on the purpose, because for example, I'm now doing this daily drawing thing, and that like I already do it because I want this challenge, I want this out of the comfort zone. So for that I'm not using watercolors or Procreate. I use markers, I use color pencils, and also I've been using black ink because I really like the look of black ink, but I'm really bad with it. So now I'm like, because these pieces that I create for this challenge, like I'm not intending to use them really anywhere. This is just experimentation, and kind of like I'm using this as like a class, as education. It's like as if I'm taking a class. So I'm learning something, so I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, that's lovely. I've also been like lately super excited about colored pencils, and I've been using those for my 100 days of drawing challenge, and have been really enjoying that. So I hope to, because now it kind of, I mean, it looks like my style, but it's not anything I can see, like, for example, in my shop, because it looks so different from, because I'm used to like these colored layers, and now I'm doing more line work stuff with them. I'm really enjoying it, but maybe there's like needs to be some process of how to kind of incorporate the two together, where I will be, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same for me with ink, that like when I draw with ink, I really enjoy it, and I really like how ink works, but also the lines, because my lines are usually so clean and like uniform, and ink lines are very like brush strokey and like very, and it's like, okay, this doesn't look like something I draw, so like how do I make ink look like my style? I don't know yet, but I'm working on it. So, but I think it's very good practice and learning, experimenting thing.
Yeah, yes, highly recommend trying out new art supplies, because I think, it's always like you learn new things with it. Like not just using that supply, but also, like how to incorporate it in a way that it works in your style.
Yes. I hope we answered your question.
Yes. Well, I feel like I was all over the place in this episode, but I hope we shared some insight into our thoughts on style.
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay. Where are you with your drawing, by the way?
Well, since I didn't pre-sketch anything, then I was like, mostly I was sketching, but now I've been coloring my plants, and I've been coloring them in yellow.
Oh, I love that shade of yellow. So pretty.
Yes. So the actual like leaves are mustard yellow, and the pots are gonna be, I don't know what yet. So I'm gonna finish this off camera.
Okay, I can also show you. I still need details, but
Ooh,
to celebrate my teenage years, this girl is very like cute goth, and she also is a furry in a way, but kind of like I made it more like a human with a tail and ears.
yeah, I was also like, okay, this is like cute and edgy.
Yeah. I wanted to do that. Yeah, it was
which
very
you
fun.
don't usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very fun experiment.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. And also, like, about one more thing about art supplies, I really hope that us making noise with art supplies don't bother you, because like now that the episodes have been audio only and we've been like editing them, I notice way more all the noises that we make with like markers and painting and stuff, because when we edit video episodes you kind of see it, so it doesn't like bother me so much. So I hope they don't bother you, but also I kind of feel that you can hear us draw, so it's like we're drawing with you.
Yeah, we hope it's okay, and maybe even nice.
Yes. But thanks for listening, and please let us know what you want us to talk about in future episodes, and keep sharing. We are so thankful for all of you who have been sharing. It helps us a lot, so please keep doing it.
Yes, also send us your feedback and comment on our YouTube videos, and follow us on our Instagram. Also, if you watch us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. That would be that's very important if you enjoy watching us there.
Yes,
So
and if you have the
subscribe.
means, then please support us on Patreon.
Yes.
All right, talk to you in the next episode.
Yes, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Drawing Club podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram at Drawing Club Podcast, or email us at drawingclubpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also find me, Mia, on Instagram at mia.minerva, and on YouTube as Mia Minerva. Sasha, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Sasha_Kretova.
This podcast was created by us, Mia Minerva and Sasha Kretova.
Olli Arni created the theme song and assisted with the recording, and Dmitry Zherbin took care of audio mastering.
Welcome to the club, friends.